What would I do if I could do anything? I said, you know what? I got my mind. I want to learn what life is. I want to learn everything that's ever been written about people who study who we are, how we process ourselves, how we think and how we change our minds, how we find our identities, why we make the choices we make, and how to make different choices. I want to know all that. And so I decided I would study 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, reading the greatest minds that ever wrote on the subject, not knowing that I'd get cured from the cancer and have to keep this stupid promise. And then I got cured. Lucky. Very fortunate. And I committed the rest of my life to learning as much as I could about that in order to help other people. And I traveled around the world doing that. I have a best-selling book called The Power of Losing Control. It's about how when we stop wasting our energy on the things we can't control, we can bring it to the things we can control, and only then can we find our real power. Would you agree? Took me a long time to write that book because I couldn't find the opening, because I wanted to bring all this heavy stuff that I read and write and study and write it in a way that Aunt Sarah can understand it, or you know, anybody can get it, my Uncle Tommy or anybody, you understand? And I didn't want to talk about the cancer. And all of a sudden, it came to me. My wife was out for a walk one morning. She comes in, and I'm weeping. And she said, "What's wrong?" I said, "I got the book." And the first chapter of that book is about Jeannie and that story. I ended up laying in bed saying, you know what? You got to write down everything you know and commit to it. Most people don't even commit to what they know. Hell, most people don't even know what they know. They only know what they feel. And that's sometimes based on what other people feel. By the way, most people also don't want to be happy. We just want to be happier than other people seem to be. Oh, yeah. So I got up and I wrote down as many things as I could. It was the middle of the night, so I wrote down as many things as I could. The next morning, none of them made sense. Did you ever do that? Okay, but what I ended up doing is writing a poster that ended up becoming a success strategy poster. It was printed in a syndicated column. And a lot of the things I'm sharing with you, bring all you are to all you do, it's all you need, all of these things are on that. There's millions of those around the world. Why? Jeannie. Jeannie found a person who was in a moment where they were ready to reconsider all that they knew and said the right words in the right way, just words that influenced me. And now influence millions of people around the world. My book's been 4 different languages. I've been looking forward to today. Because you're all influencers. You have more opportunity than me as a professional to get in front of people who really not only need to reconsider themselves, want to, have to. It's amazing to me. It's mind-boggling. These are just words. But they truly make a difference, especially in times when people need to rethink themselves. I speak to a lot of CEOs and very powerful and influential people. And one time I was in Washington, D.C. talking to what's called the Young Presidents Organization. Do you know this group? It's a very quiet group, but you have to be under 49 years of age, have something like, and they keep raising the standards, but something like 200 employees, you have to make $50 million a year in your company, and then you get vetted, and then you might get invited to join. I mean, it's very, very high powered. When I was speaking, when I was done, they were going to get a personal tour of the White House. So I have all of these CEOs, these YPOers, in a room with their spouses, and I have a half an hour to talk about the power of losing control. Oh, by the way, I didn't tell you this either. I had a PBS special. That story about Jeannie was on the PBS special. How many people did Jeannie touch through me? It's mind-boggling, isn't it? So I'm talking about the power of losing control of these guys, and of course I have to tell my cancer story in order to then get to the real meat of the things I want to share with them about how the processes that we go through, how that works, so you can change the way you think, the way you define things, the way you behave to things. I get all done, and they have, like, I don't know, 8 minutes for questions, and a gentleman over there, his name's Mike. He's about my size, but he talks like this. He goes, "Yeah, Joe." I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Yeah, that cancer you had." I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Was that a blessing or a curse?" Nobody ever asked me that. I don't have an answer. I don't know what to say. I want to impress these guys. I want to be smart. But I've learned, bring all you are to all you do. It's all you need. So I stopped in the moment and I said, "Hold on a second. If you don't mind, sir, I'll just talk out loud and share with you my response to your question because I don't have an answer." He said, that'd be great." Okay. I said, "It was the worst curse of my life, the darkest moments of my life. I had a side effect, a weird side effect that only some people get, I guess, from the bleomycin that affected my nerves. I couldn't button my shirt. I couldn't hold the door for somebody. I got so skinny." His name was Mike. He lives in a city outside of Chicago, Illinois. So I said, "I got so skinny, Mike, that I couldn't sit in the chair that didn't have a lot of cushion or a pillow on it because my butt bones couldn't handle the pressure because it hurt so bad." I said, "I threw up every few minutes, and I can't even tell you when there's nothing left what comes out." I said, "I never prayed to God, please let me live. But I remember saying, God, just give me a sign that it's worth it." So in that, I have to say it was the darkest period of my life. That being said, Mike, it was the greatest blessing I ever had. Because had I not had, a cocky young 18-year-old, been faced with that kind of an opportunity to rethink myself, and had an opportunity to meet Jeannie, and had an opportunity to understand and read and study and learn and commit to people, spend the rest of my life committing to people, I probably wouldn't have done it. And I wouldn't be here today addressing you and being able to answer your stupid question. I didn't say stupid. People that want to talk to me alone, and I'm in a small, powerful group like that, they drift to the back of the room and they start to find the wallpaper fascinating. Because they're waiting for everybody to leave, right? Well, Mike was doing that. And I saw him, so I'm signing stuff, people are leaving. And all of a sudden, Mike's in front of me. He's about 2 feet in front of me. This guy is wired. Now, I don't know if he's angry. His fists were clenched. I don't know if he's going to clock me. I don't know if he's going to cry. His eyes were glazed. His veins in his forehead and neck were sticking out. This guy is wired. And we're alone in this ballroom in Washington, D.C. He's so wired that when he starts to speak, the words come out much louder than he wanted them to. He starts with these 2 words: "My cancer." And then he doesn't like the way he sounded, so he took just a few seconds to recompose himself. But while he did that, I started making up his story for him. Did you ever make up people's story for them? Oh, yeah. I said, "Oh, my God, this rich, powerful CEO guy's got cancer. His probably is incurable. Here I am. I'm lucky to be here. Maybe I came off a little too cocky. I don't know." Then I said, "Shut up, Joe." It might sound impolite, but when I say, "Joe, please be quiet," Joe doesn't listen. So I said, "Shut up, Joe, and let him tell you his story." And I psychically brought myself back, and as open as I could, just stood there and waited. And now when he spoke, he started again with the same 2 words, not as loud, but a very powerful half whisper. He said, "My cancer was my son's disability. You taught me today. That's my blessing, not my curse." And he gave me a one-armed hug, and he walked out the door and left me standing there alone. And I stand in front of you today knowing that that little boy is not a little boy anymore. And that somewhere in a city outside of Chicago, that young man grew up with a father who loved him. Because I said words, just words, at the right moment, at the right time, And he got to reconsider himself and not be a victim to it, but find power in it by how he redefines himself, what's happening, and how he wants to think and behave. And you do that all the time. And thank God for it. I have 2 more words I want to share with you. Not Jeannie Midashevsky, but Jeannie McDonough. Would you come up here, Jeannie, please?
I can't top this. I'm done.